All right, let's keep rolling. Next up, the final 1 p.m. game on the schedule. Then we move into the afternoon games, and there's not many of them, but we will tighten up the ship here. Jets 2-8, 0-5 on the road. Texans 2-8, 1-3 at home. We're at Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. Bum fight number 2 here.
Yeah.
The Texans open up at -3 at +110. They're now -3 at +111. So they're basically a 2.5, which is what we see everywhere else. Although Bodog's hanging a 3 at +100. This total opened up at 44. It's now at 44.5 or 45. I truly believe, and it didn't look good 5 minutes in, but that Jets team total under, after what Salah said about the decision to go with Flacco over White, was about the easiest bet. What I should have done was also taking the Dolphins, but I cashed the under. I cashed the Jets team total under, and it was one of those times where you sit back and you're like, this is very, very easy. How am I down 0.25 units on the season? The Jets come in off a 24-17 home loss to the Dolphins. Let's take a look at the cash here. We have 37% of tickets on the Texans and 59% of cash. And I get that. I get that after what we've seen from the Texans last couple of weeks. Then we have 30% of tickets on the over, but 76% of cash on the over, which is very interesting. So the Jets had allowed at least 45 points in 3 of their past 4 games. And I still know what the Dolphins are going to do. And I feel similarly about the Texans. They're just not going to run up the score. Flacco played well, 24-39, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. If I had have given you my prediction of his statistical breakdown, it wouldn't have been 291 yards. And probably not 2 touchdowns, maybe 1 touchdown. But 24 of 39, 0 interceptions was exactly where I kind of thought he would be. Elijah Moore caught 8 passes for 141 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Crowder caught 6 passes for 44 yards and a touchdown. Michael Carter ran 9 times for 63 yards before suffering a high ankle sprain. He's expected to miss a couple weeks. Quincy Williams was excellent. 15 tackles, 2 coming for a loss. But the Jets could get no pressure. 0 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. Ashton Davis did pick off Tua. Linebacker C.J. Mosley took a helmet-to-helmet hit. He's in concussion protocol. And Zach Wilson, inactive last week, questionable to return this week. Texans coming off a big 22-13 win at Tennessee to snap their 8-game losing streak. I was on the under. I wish that I had the balls to bet the Texans. I wish. And I know a lot of you guys had the balls. And sadly, I did not. They intercepted Tannehill 4 times, although they were outgained 420 to 190. Desmond King got 2 of them. Great to see the ex-Titan snap off 2 picks. Houston's victory is the latest win in a season by a team with the worst record over the team with the best record in the same conference since the 1970 merger. It was a wild, wild victory. Tyrod Taylor, 14-24 for 107 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Also ran 6 times for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. It looked healthy out there. Chris Conley led receivers with 4 receptions for 37 yards. Rex Burkhead ran 18 times for 40 yards. Texans held the Titans without a sack for the first time since week 15 of the 2020 season. Came into the game with 27 sacks. It was the first time Houston had not allowed a sack since week 11 of last season against New England. They were able to dial up pressure all day. 2 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. They managed to do that without defensive lineman Jonathan Greenard. 7 sacks in 7 games. He was back in Houston with an injured foot. He's questionable to go this week. They've strung together consecutive games, forcing 5 turnovers. Jordan Jenkins, their linebacker, hurt his knee. Posterior cruciate ligament in his left knee. He's expected to miss at least 3 weeks. Babano, we start with you. Bum fight, Jets Texans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zach Wilson starting this week.
There he is.
This is CNN.
Yes.
Jets fan Jose with the news bulletin right
I've
there.
been waiting
Zach
for that.
Wilson is playing. Yeah.
I think I've been waiting for that.
Yeah,
all my
Wilson
life.
is going to play. Exactly.
God,
thank you,
that's so
Jose.
good.
You know, I was going to mention that, but thanks for mentioning anyway. Yeah, Zach Wilson's back. Well, I'll give Joe Flacco credit, all right, for the game against Miami. Mike White for the last few weeks had been nothing but dink and dunk, throwing the football short to intermediate. Defenses were finally starting to catch on to it after a few weeks, and the Buffalo Bills, I know a couple weeks ago, embarrassed him in that game. But they figured it out. And well, the one thing we saw from Joe Flacco last week against the Dolphins is he threw the ball deep. You know, he at least stretched the field. They went down the field a little bit in that game, and they had some success doing that. Now, they lost the game 24-17, but there were 3 or 4 drives that ended up with no points in Dolphins territory in that game for the Jets. They missed a kick. They turnover on downs a couple times. Turnovers were an issue, but they moved the ball for a large part of that game against the Miami defense with Joe Flacco. Now it's Zach Wilson this time around for the Jets. We'll see. He's been out for a while. How does he fare here? It remains to be seen. You look at the Jets, though, it was at least a step in the right direction, the way they played in that game against the Dolphins. On the flip side, look, I loved Houston last week in that spot against Tennessee. It was a flat spot beyond belief for the Titans, a banged-up team. Texans were getting double digits, and I didn't know they'd win the game, but I thought there was just too many points. They would be close either way. But don't be fooled by the final score. It's one of the most misleading final scores you'll see in the NFL this season. I mean, obviously Houston won the game, and you give them credit for it, but they were outgained, by a massive margin in that game, 420 to 190 in terms of total yardage in favor of the Titans. 5 Tennessee Titans turnovers, +5 in the turnover margin for the Houston Texans. So it's going to look like, wow, Tyrod Taylor and the offense, they really got it revved up, didn't they? No, they didn't. They just basically took advantage of short fields gifted to them, gift wrapped for them, early Christmas present 1 month early, 5 times, in fact, from the Tennessee Titans. That's exactly why Houston put up the points they did. There's no freaking way I'm laying points with Houston. Now, I liked Houston last week, but now you're talking about a bad football team, and let's keep in mind what they're dealing with right now. 3 starting offensive linemen were out last week, and this is not a team with quality depth. So when you're talking about a bottom feeder team like the Houston Texans that were in a spot last week without 3 starting offensive linemen, you better believe that unit's going to struggle. And that's the concern you've got here. And I think when you look at it too, their lead running back right now is Rex Burkhead. The Jets are not good against the run. Everybody can run against the Jets. But I don't know if the Texans have any kind of run game to take advantage of it. Rex Burkhead, are you kidding me? In 2021, your top running back? How is that happening for this Texans team? So I don't know if Houston can take advantage of the Jets' defensive weaknesses here in this game. And I don't think other than Brandon Cooks, there's a lot to work with in the receiving game for Tyrod Taylor. Wilson's an enigma. He's had a lot of bad games this year, but he's also shown flashes, maybe coming back into the lineup. Fires him up this week. You got to admit, too, he's faced a pretty tough schedule of defenses early in the year. Let's not forget, when he was struggling, look who that he went up against. Zach Wilson early in the season when the Jets opened the year. Carolina's defense is good. Patriots, Denver's strength is defense. They had a lot of good defenses they faced early in the year. Houston's isn't one of them. So right now, I might make this official. I was hoping it would stay at 3 because there are actually a couple 3s. I might make this official here. I will. Official play, New York Jets +3. There is a +3 at Pinnacle. I'm going to take the Jets here. I think that it's a winnable game for them in my mind.
I absolutely love backing a skilled young quarterback when he's watched from the sidelines for 3 to 5 weeks. I always think that's just if he's healthy, it's the perfect opportunity in college as well. Having a skilled quarterback sitting on the sidelines, watching everything go down. I think that, you're not the only one who's on this here. We have Dennis Garcia on it. Guillermo Zertucci rolling with us right now. Especially there's so many elements at play here that have been working of late. 1, betting against what we saw last week. 2, backing the skilled quarterback who's been watching for 3 to 5 weeks. Fading I want to say the public, but I should double check that. Fading the sharps are on Houston right now. But I get what the idea here, Babano, and it's going to.
You've got a bad football team in a plus spot for them, a divisional game against a good team. They got pretty fired up for it. Tennessee was in the mother of all flat spots, lethargic, sleepwalk spots, whatever you want to call it, last week, and Houston took advantage of it, but they took advantage of it because of 5 turnovers. I'm not convinced that if Tennessee's turning the ball over as much as that, that Houston would have been able to do what they did. It really was more Tennessee just god-awful on Sunday, and an injury-riddled Tennessee team, too, which we talked about earlier, than anything good we saw to Houston. And now they're laying points in a non-division game that may not excite them anywhere close to as much as that game. No thanks.
Babano, do you want +3 at -123, or do you want +2.5 at -105?
I'll always take +3 and pay up for it if it's available. So yeah, +3.
All right, C-Mac, anything for you official, or do we move on to afternoon?
Yeah, just move on the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm gonna take more time with that bum fight. Jesus, I won't regale you with this tale, but I remember my first ever bum fight. My 13th birthday. I don't even want to. I dropped acid for the first time in my life, and in the end, 13th birthday. Yes.
Nice.
And there was two female bums, and the one grabbed the one bum, and she was black, and it ripped the blonde wig. I'm 13. I don't realize it's a wig. Ripped the wig out. She's shaved head. I'm freaking out. And I remember I went and got some blueberry bubble gum so I would relax.